So it's been a minute since we've sat around the table and had any kind of conversation, what we call shop talk. And we have a crazy bustling weekend this weekend, and we have a whole crew of amazing human beings from Akron, Ohio, or just outside of Akron, Ohio. From Nikki's Perfect Petal Designs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, I was looking at your chest for a moment.
You really have to get in there close.
The Nikki's big.
Yeah. That's what it is big.
How did this relationship start with us?
Lauren. Lauren is how it started.
Oh, good. I know who to put in the crosshairs.
Correct. Yeah, Lauren, we were going to celebrate Jordan, who works for me. It was her 30th birthday weekend, and we were going to go to Miami anyways. And Lauren said, hey, I've got another designer that orders from us, and, you know, he's looking for some help. Was your crew, like, up for it? And I was like, yes, that sounds amazing. And then she put me in touch with you, and that conversation went the way that it went. And
What
it was
does that mean?
inspiring as always. No, it was a cool opportunity. So you were so kind and said we could hang out in Miami for the first couple days. Vans came to you and didn't go there. And then we flew out here, and the rest is history.
Wait, what did we think of Nikki and her crew when they first came in?
Oh, wow. This is
I
good.
put on the spot.
Wade, you asked the nice one. I see.
I gotta
that.
rope him in.
As a fellow Midwesterner, I felt right at home with you guys. Yeah. I mean, I'm from Michigan. You guys are from Ohio. We're actually all Midwesterners. So for me, it was no different than my girlfriends from Michigan. Like, you guys roll in, you're loud, you're crazy, you're funny, great sense of humor, hardworking. You know, you just rolled right in, and it was, you know, like Ohio was here, and now we lovingly refer to you as Ohio. You are the whole state. You are Ohio.
I'm so sorry.
When we're like,
We
who's coming in
represent
for this
you.
event? Is Ohio coming? It's not, you know, it's just the whole state. No, I think we all fell in love with you and your crew, you know, right out of the gate. And I think, you know, like you said, Lauren, who is our importer, we use. You came highly recommended from her. You know, she loved you guys. She knew you, were doing amazing design work. So when the opportunity came that we needed more hands, I think it was your off season, right?
Yeah,
it was,
absolutely,
like during the winter,
it was
you
in
guys are a
January.
little slower. It was a January event. So, it just worked out.
Bella Colina, that's what it was.
So yeah, we kind of threw you in the fire and pulled off a really big event. And, you know, since then it's been repeat
On
business.
repeat.
On repeat.
When you first came, Adam was not here yet, right?
Correct.
What was your impression of Ohio when you first got here?
No.
Well, I was given a full vetted down low. I was like, so I started here last August, and the first big event that we did together, Darin goes, so we have this crew. They're great. It's these awesome girls from Ohio. They're loud, but they really get shit done. And no, I have just really come to love you and your team, and every time that we have an event together, I'm so excited to have you all here, because it just feels like we're getting the band back together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that you guys are so funny, so talented, and there's no way that we could do what we do without you guys.
I love that.
Yeah.
Same.
It's super cool. I mean, here we were doing events and aspiring to do larger, bigger, more intricate events, and the team had swelled to a larger team, but we were still taking on work that we couldn't do it on our own, right? And all of a sudden we had one weekend that we took on, one would argue, too much than we should have, but I called Lauren up in a frantic, and I said, we have too much going out the door. You got to have somebody in Chicago. I didn't say Ohio because I would have never.
We already looked over. It wasn't even our chance.
You got to have somebody you sell flowers to that can come help us and want to be in Florida in January.
Yes. That's really the big selling point for us. We love you, but the weather, way better than Ohio.
I thought it was your charm. Yeah.
There's also that.
So this started what, like 3 years ago?
Maybe.
2.5 years ago?
2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What I think is super interesting and what has been super cool from our perspective is, or at least my perspective, is having you here as a business owner that does what we do, having your crew here who are designers that do what my crew does, and having that community that we have built together, as well as personal relationships and personal friendships, that have just been so fulfilling and go really deep, and that we have an opportunity to really learn from one another. And like every time we do an event together, we have takeaways, and we sit down and we say, they did this that way, they did that this way. We should adopt that. And it's been like an upward cycle, I think, for both of us. But I don't hear what goes on in Nikki's perfect Petal house after this place, right?
Yeah, it's so similar. I mean, I think your guys' designs are elevated, and you guys pull in floral that are so unique, and the designs you come up with are so amazing. We do really pretty things too. We always say we're more like the Target of the floral industry, right? Like everybody likes us, right? We're not like the fancy brands you all probably know that I can't even name. Name one. Your shoes.
Balenciaga. Ferragamo.
Keep going. Those.
Gucci. You know that one.
We're just Targets, right? But what we've learned, though, is you guys can pull off these massive, amazing, breathtaking events, and you do it with your guys' creativity, but all you need is the manpower. And so that has given our company the confidence to know, like, all right, because we are very different. We come in kind of skeleton crew, 2 or 3 people at a setup, certainly not big installs like you all do, but it's given us the confidence that if the opportunity presents itself, then we can do it. And, we are strong designers, and we use details. We use the same program as you guys do. We use it a little bit differently. So we leave here all the time saying the same things, like, oh, Tailored Twig. Sometimes we're like, they do it that way. We're not doing that. But a lot of times it's mostly with hydration and deep insertions. We're not always on the same page. But
hashtag deep insertion.
But generally speaking, we really do. We talk about it all the time, just about, I was so excited. Like, to talk to you was one thing, but to come down here, like, I have other florist friends in Ohio who are more traditional, retail florists. And if you come in my shop, Darin's been there. We are in the basement of this old church building. It is not very big, but we play rap music, and we'll have occasional cocktails, and we throw things on the floor, and it's loud, and it's a very fun environment. And they've always said, like, that's not how a real florist works, right? And I'm over here like, we do 300 events a year. Don't tell me how a real florist works, because I'm doing it. Yes. And so it was so refreshing to come to a very upscale place like this and see that it's similar.
Yeah.
Maybe not, we're a little trashier, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a similar feel. Edit
the
that
music.
out, Fourth wall. No, but we do talk about it all the time. So it is very different, but we come away with things, just how you guys prep things, and the amount of beautiful vessels you guys use. We tend to use the same things over and over again. So it's taught us to increase our inventories, and it's worth the investment, because it really does bring a different element to the events that we do, regardless of the budgets. It's been it's given us a lot of confidence in not the luxury market, because that's not where we are, but just to do things that are a little bit more upscale. So.
Yeah, and I mean, even you had an event last year that you left here after doing a couple of crazy things that we do. I don't remember which one it was, but we had a big structure. We had a big structure in the ballroom, and we had boards all over it, flowers, and it was this whole thing. And you're like, so I have this client. How did you do that? What do we do? How do we do? I just love the idea and the concept that we can both grow together. And that when I have challenges as a business owner, despite the fact that our businesses are completely different, it's really refreshing to me to have somebody who's an ally and a friend that I can rely on and talk through things with.
It's so true, because I think oftentimes in this industry, I don't know if you guys feel it down here, but there's a lot of competition. So, the love of flowers is love of flowers, but that's not the same as event designers to event designers. I think sometimes when you talk to others, maybe they don't want to talk to you about their events because they don't want to lose their planners, or there's just a weird level of competition that I don't agree with. I think that there's plenty of business to go around, at least at where we are, at the level we're at. So, but it's hard to find somebody that you can just talk like pricing through, how do you process things? What's your markup? What works for you guys? Like that's and that's just business 101. That's not even florist to florist necessarily, but it's nice to have somebody that understands the schlepping of the things and the teardowns and the strikes and just everything that goes into it. And you all just do it so well. It's just nice to have somebody to talk to about it.
Great.
What's your next one?
Next
Throw in a
question,
deep word.
What?
You keep doing these.
No, I even today, we had a kind of like difficult meeting this morning about logistics and the schedule and manning these multiple events this weekend. And you just like bounced in as kind of like an outsider and like set it all straight. I was like, oh yeah. So just to the point of like having an outside perspective, you can always offer something and, you offer it to us, we offer it to you. It's this idea that, there is, an infinite number of ways to do things. And the more open you are to collaboration, and instead of kind of keeping your cards close, like you said, being vulnerable, sharing things that are like maybe a little bit private, but having a network of business people that you can do that with.
And I feel like sometimes for us, it's easy for me to piggyback on anything you all do, right? I can say anything because you have been staring at these events for days and weeks and months and planning, and you guys have so many things that go into them and all the moving parts. You guys' brains are just everywhere. Where I can come in and be like, okay, well, this is what I see. You know what I mean? Like,
I was like, and we were like, oh, we didn't see that.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, well, you guys are focusing on all these things, but what really we need to focus on is maybe right here. There's always a fine line though. Like we always, me especially, want to be so respectful to you guys, and that we never ever want to come in and act like we know what's going on because we really don't. But it is so different we just see things differently because you guys are same thing. If you came to mine, like when you came in my shop, you're like, I would knock down these walls and I would put up some lights. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of how you see. He didn't even get to see us like design or anything. It was just his assessment of
the
my space
alone.
Rude. But, there's just a lot to be said about, it's a lot to be said about your company letting a whole nother crew come in, right? We outnumber you sometimes, and that's probably overwhelming, and we just appreciate so much to be able to do it and to see, I don't know. Sometimes you probably don't. I was going over some stuff with Adam today. I was like, hey man, like, I don't understand how this works, and he was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Cause you guys are just doing it all the time. And a fresh pair of eyes, like we do that at the shop all the time too. Like when somebody checks the cooler, they are not the ones that designed it. They go in not knowing anything about anything, and then that way, we can catch anything that might have been an issue. So, I think that's helpful too.
To your earlier question too of like what I originally thought about, being new here and then being new to a freelance crew, that was a lot of new, and I think over the year and a quarter that we've gotten to work together, I think that every event has gotten better.
So great.
And it's really nice to have the same crew come in time and time again.
I agree.
Because we get to know each other. I know what we're capable of. I know what you guys are each individually capable of. I know what each of you really like to do as far like whether it's personals or large pieces or arrangements or whatever. And because of that, we're able to do bigger and better projects.
Yeah.
Even this week, we have 2 large weddings and a big gala. And I think a year ago coming into it, I would have been like, I don't know if we can get that done. And now we're a day ahead of schedule, And as like we get to reinforce this relationship every time you come back, and we get the band back together, I'm just always amazed at how much we can actually get done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so true.
and for me, like it makes my job such a joy because I'm like, well, we can do more here. The answer is always yes. It's like, sure, we can do 2 weddings and a gala, no problem. We probably could have done another wedding.
Stop.
Like a small one,
Let's not get crazy.
That's next year.
Got it.
But no, it just makes it makes my job really great to be able to come into work and enjoy the people I work with, enjoy the people that, we get to bring in.
And the interesting thing too is that, to Adam's point, the goal isn't to do 3 weddings in a weekend. The goal is to sink our teeth into more elaborate design for one event, right? It's not, my interest is not to split to make sure that we're doing more business. My goal is that we're doing more impactful design and more impactful things. And you're not the only crew of freelancers that we've worked with, but you're the preferred crew of freelancers that we work with. And every time that we get a big project or it's in the hopper, before it even books, I'm calling to see who's available, and you're the first call that I'm making. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean,
How many you got, Nikki?
we
How
might
many you
not
got for us?
We might not
What's it
be
gonna
able to
take to
say
get you
yes to
down
this.
there?
Yeah.
Well, I think that also you guys maybe underestimate how hard that is for you all to manage new strangers. I think that even the first time that we were here, it has gotten better and better and better, but it's because you do know us. And so to be able to pull off the events that you're doing, it's one thing, you see us 3 or 4 times a year, so now you know us kind of. But man, to pull in brand new crews all the time, like to know your procedures and your policies and where your stuff is and how it works and the quality control, like that is amazing for you all to be able to do that. To, first of all, host us the way that you do, and then still create these events with all of that behind us. It's amazing that you can do that with a bunch of strangers. It doesn't matter how talented we are, you know what I mean? We're just doing what you all tell us to do. So it's just crazy to be able to manage that big of a new crew with having the stress that any designer knows what the wedding weeks are like when you're talking about big stuff, know? So to do what you do and then have all those people in here is nuts.
And it's just so nice that it's cold a portion of the year and people don't like to do shit in Ohio this time of year. So we have
because it really
access.
is a treat for us. Like, we are working, but most of us have kids. So yes, we work here, but we're here at 9 and we go home at 6 and we don't have to feed kids and it's warm and there's a beach. Like there's a lot of pluses. A lot of pluses for coming up to visit you. Down. You're down to visit you guys, not up. Not going up to Michigan or Minnesota.
And we keep offering ourselves up to you, but you don't take
I
us.
can't afford your ass. Come on. I can't even like Madison. Some of the other girls will be like, we'll come to Ohio and help you. Be like, you want to stay in the basement with my kids on my rollaway bed? Like, what do you mean? Could you imagine? But I appreciate if I ever book a big one. I keep telling you about the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to get you up to Ohio for the Hall of Fame events.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, I'll try. I'll do my best.
I'll stay with my family in Lima, Ohio. I'll stay in Lima. Yeah,
that's
real
like
close
2 hours. Like you're in the middle of nowhere. That was a tough town.
I think Jake has our videographer has a bunch of this is like a family reunion. He left us and moved to be with his girlfriend to go up to Manhattan, and we flew him down for this weekend's events too. So he's here orchestrating this, and he's going to take footage this weekend of these 3 events, and he has plenty of footage from the events that we have done together leading up to this point. So I think it'll be super valuable for people to see what we've accomplished together. It has been a game changer for my business in every way. I mean, I think morale-wise, cash flow-wise, when you don't have to full-time employ a huge staff in order to get events that you can then materialize. It also allows us to be more nimble, and so that we don't say yes to work that we don't want to do because we have to meet this big payroll demand every week. So I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done and the friendship that you offer. And I mean, the people that you bring into our life are just great human beings. And it's a reflection of who you are, that you select them to
Lifers.
surround you.
Like select
What is it that you say when you buy them lunch?
Oh, anytime. So never work for me, because if you ever, this goes for Jake too, if you ever accept a meal from me, you are now with me for 2 years. It does not matter.
One taco.
One bite. I don't care if you like the food or not. One morsel in that beautiful mouth of yours, 2 years.
I think you sent us food. Was that we now
2
work for
years,
you?
baby!
I think you sent us tacos for their birthday.
Yeah, you didn't know that was the rule. That's what I do. I sneak it in there.
We're in 2 years.
2 years.
Oh, okay, we're sleeping in your basement then.
Yeah, listen, come on. I didn't say no. I just know we're going to like it. Come on over. I got a pool and everything. Just come in the summertime.
down.
Where it's too hot here for you
Exactly.
anyways.
That's our off season. So yeah, we'll be up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, all kidding aside, we appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us. It's been so fun. Great friendships. We were so worried about you guys during the hurricanes and stuff. Everybody, we don't want to bug you all the time, so everybody will bug me. So thanks for that. And then I get to be the one to bug you guys. So just know that if I'm ever texting you, it's because they text me more than I care for. And so then I'm just reaching out to you once. So you're not getting everybody all the time.
Oh.
So everybody wants to know what's going on with you guys. So
We love you guys.
Oh, here's to many more. And,
Many more.
Yeah.
not in October.
Love you.
So.
Love you.